What's up, everybody? Berserker Bear with another edition of Bushwhacking Tartaria. Today we're going to go through the Niagara section of the thruway, a little bit of Anomaly on the Peace Bridge and the International Bridge and the Niagara River, Upper Niagara River, where the Lake Erie empties into the river. Let's go over some cool pictures, some boots on the ground, and get right into it. So this right here, let's see where we were. This is the Peace Bridge, looking a little bit north. Get some orientation here for you. Now, where I was, and what's interesting and anomalous to me is this would be the Niagara section of the 190, as you can see here for reference. I always like to show you guys where I am, so you can go look it up yourself. And if nothing else, this is just deposit some questions that I have as I look at layout of not just the hills and the geography of the area, but certain anomalies with buildings that we may see, and stuff that I passed through my entire life. But now that I'm interested in this, the Mudflood Tartarian reset research, of course, you look at things through new lenses and different apertures, and we all have different lenses. So I'm just positing what could possibly be, not what is, but I'm questioning what they're telling us is, like I said, a common narrative of our history. And we're going to cite some sources here using Info Galactic as always, maybe some of Wikipedia if we get into it. But this is where I was. I want you to know where I was when I did my little boots on the ground. As I passed by these buildings on that stretch of thruway, I've always noticed an interesting portion that we would say is heavily mudflood-esque. Or, I like to say terraformed. Because in my opinion, we got a railway here, ancient ley line. I've also done a video about this section near the International Bridge, about more inland, where the International Bridge meets Black Rock, and how I think that was a former canal, how it went inland. You can see that in my history of my videos. The title says Canals and Ley Lines. So this is where I hopped in at the foot of Ferry, right up in here. If you can see my cursor, maybe I'll get a bigger cursor for you guys. And I've always thought that this building was anomalous, because I'm not sure if you can see it. Maybe you can see it when I zoom in here. Is this patch in network here? Obviously, the seemingly mud flooded building that's buried. Okay, and the construction there, I've been over this before in the previous video, lends credence to the fact that you can see how it may be terraformed. Okay, but I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm still on a fence whether it's terraforming or mud flood that we're seeing as evidence of these possibly buried buildings. But it was always anomalous to me because they did some stitching in there. And so what I wanted to do was actually get in there and hit the tracks and go to that place. And that's what I did. So let's check it out. Let's bushwhack here. Now that bridge is right here, like I just showed you guys. We're gonna check what we're gonna see. We're gonna check something out real cool about this bad boy too. There's along this whole Niagara stretch is very cool old red brick and Tartarian architecture. Rail line, we got the whole thing right here, mounded up, mud flood next to railways, old red brick stuff, and certainly some anomalies. So that's that bridge that I went over right there. This is what you would call this island right here. Let's back up a little bit. This is what they are now calling Unity Island, formerly Squaw Island, for your reference and your research. But that's the bridge that you just seen in that picture, and that's what I'm walking over. And let's go see what I saw. That's the Peace Bridge there. I have interesting anomalies about the Peace Bridge and the International Bridge too, that I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to put forth an anomaly that I think about those things as well, wrapping the video up. Cool picture. That's after I climbed up. It's kind of similar. This side, the side that I'm on, is kind of similar to that side. I just climbed up these things. Got up on there. Old cobblestone there. Look at that. Berserker Bear. Let's go bushwhack Tartaria. Tracks. So that's where I am, pretty much. Right here. Okay. Came up on here, hit the tracks here. And my aim was that patch-in network right there, pretty much. Not that far, but I had some cool stuff along the way. I mean, you know, I always see this old, I wanted to go by here too, this old stone wall. And this, you know, this is mounted up all here. And man, is that terraformed or is that mud flooded? Boy, the discernment is hard, but also, boy, it's super interesting trying to figure it out, especially getting down on there. I mean, that's, you know, one of my hallmarks, I think, that I'd like to say and that I bring to you guys is the fact that I can actually get out here on top of some of this old stuff. I don't like to be, hope I don't sound redundant, but I think that's a feature that I have that I can bring to you guys. And why not video log all this stuff? So yeah, there goes that wall. Got right on it. Looks like old brick. But it's old stone, and it may be newer concrete, but those are bigger blocks. Man, I'd love to lean on the Eagle Eye crew for what they think about this. Tartarian Meltdown. Spartan Red. When the Buildings Cried. You guys are good with knowing what is up with brick. I got a video here, too. I believe it's loading. Sorry about the noise in the background there. I mean, there's obviously a thruway right there. Yeah, there you go. So it kind of looks a little bit like concrete, but I don't know. Maybe heat damaged. To me, I don't think that that's red brick expanded. It's all too uniform. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Please leave comments. I hope that you find this interesting, me seeing this stuff right on top of it. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like, that's why I wanted to get the transition part too. It doesn't, you know, from where it goes to from the brick to the ground, you know. I mean, some of this stuff kind of looked like concrete to me. But, you know, I have to stress, I can't stress enough, excuse me, that I'm not a mason, I'm not an architect, I'm not a geologist. I am just an interested party. Red brick there? Oh, no, it was. I think it was more like old piping, actually. Red brick? So yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm right on top of stuff and looking at it, getting on there for you. Let's keep it going here. Cool stuff you see along the way. That was behind that brick wall. Here's some gravy. That building that I pointed out to you. Pretty cool, huh? Let's go see. I mean, look at that. There's new with old here. That's new concrete right there. Chimneys, man. What are these chimneys for? What were chimneys? Here we go. Look at all that red brick just laying around. red brick all over. Old with the new. Here you go. You know, that's new concrete. I'll stick my neck out and be willing to bet that's modern. That's old, and even you can see that they spackled over this too. Here, you know, that's all falling off. Shoddy workmanship there. That's definitely not Promethean Phoenician facade. It's kind of bowing out. Yep. Whoa. I didn't realize that it opened up to that. Clearly. Okay, this will be a long video here, but here we go, guys. I believe we're gonna see this. I don't know what this is here. Mortar. We got mortar with big brick. Whoa. Look at these transitions here, guys. My word. All the way down. I got some more to do. This isn't even what I came here for. Look at the transition. Big stone with what seems to be mortar. We got holes. Then you got red brick. Then you got... Extremely interesting. And hard to discern. Extremely interesting and hard to discern, like what was going on there. I really would like some insight, and I really appreciate when you leave your comments. Okay, this is while I have a break in the wind here because it's quite windy off the Niagara River. I'm on the Niagara River stretch here on the railroad in between the Peace Bridge and Ferry Street, West Ferry Street. I hopped on, or I showed earlier, and I'm on the Amtrak train here, so this thing whizzes by here. I gotta be wary. But what I'm interested in, and I've been interested in since I've been researching this rabbit hole, is that little tie-in right there from the old foundation, which I think maybe we were just looking at similar foundation in that old building. Yep. But we're about to go get right up on that, and that was my aim. So let's... That's probably why I made that video, because that's the first time I had eyes on it and I could see the ground between my feet and my destination, right? That's always a pivotal moment for me when I aim to go somewhere, and there's nothing in between me and my destination, but you know, a couple strides. That's always pivotal for me. It's in my trailer for Bushwhacking Tartaria. My trailers, part 1 and part 2. When I go to that tower, that was significant to me. When I first made eye contact effectively with my target, that's it's always a special thing, especially when you're doing this kind of research. So there you go. That's why I did that. I don't mean to be redundant because I obviously went over that and showed you where I came in on, but that's kind of like a special thing for me, especially when it's my main. Like I said earlier, my main hallmark is getting boots on the ground. There you go. That's the Peace Bridge right there. Boy, there goes another video. Effectively, the anomaly that I'm gonna posit about the Peace Bridge and the International Bridge. So, had to take that shot. Looking back, that's what I was talking about. The brick kind of looks similar. What we're gonna see here. There you go. I wanted to get a close up of extreme mud flood action or terraforming action, and in my belief, this section of the Niagara section of the thruway, I think it's terraforming. It's right next to a ley line, next to a canal system, next to a river. There's not a predominant hill like this on the Canadian side. You can look that up yourself. I'm not going to get off track here and go look at that, but you could do it yourself. And that I wanted to show a picture of how significant that is and what we're talking about when we say that you don't build a building like that. Clearly they didn't, because what came first, the chicken or the egg? In my opinion, this building, or at least that this part of the foundation, came first. But I'm open to suggestions here. I mean, this is really hard discernment here. So obviously this was first, and then they tied this in. Then did they push up this? They push up and level out everything around it, or was this the mud flood? Boy. Look at the steepness of that hill. This could all be terraformed, just like how I showed you before, the lens credence, when you see a construction site right next to it. I got a video here, but yeah, look at this. So there goes a window right there next to a thing. Now there was all poured concrete, it looked like, around here too, like they sealed it off. So yeah, in my opinion, in this winter climate, right off the river where you get lake effect snow, this is all rounded out too. This is pretty cool. You wouldn't do this purposely. I don't think. And I said, yeah, like it's all poured concrete. This was all like hard poured concrete, like they sealed it off type of deal. Because for reasons that I just explained. Yeah, see how it's like poured concrete? That was all solid. Okay. Where's the video that I had? There we go. Look at that, guys. Look at it. It's stitched in. It literally reminds me, real quick, it literally reminds me of the last video with the guy in the tunnel. How you seen the facade stitched in? That's kind of... Look at that. That was a window. See how it's stitched in? Like, what? Obviously, I would assume this came first, but then you got red brick there. Now, I thought I had a video. I wanted to say that a very important thing is that the red brick could have been repurposed. You see it laying on the ground all over the place in piles. APB, be advised that it could have been repurposed and reused and recycled because of the very nature of it, building blocks effectively. So they could have used recycled old Tartarian buildings and to make them industrial buildings, and did stuff like this for industry, for the new rail lines they laid, which I think go over canal systems. There goes your little portion of getting your rubbing your nose on it. Peace Bridge. It was beautiful. that day. I had to take some beautiful pictures. Nice little lonely tree. This is on my way back out. That's effectively what I was there to do. That was my goal. I could have pushed forward, but I'm going to go into that right now. What's past there, and some anomalies that I think that I can put forth for the next video here. But yeah, I had to take a picture of that, right? Yeah, okay. And here we go. This was cool. Let's give you the experience of coming over the vibrating bridge. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but... And as I was taking off, I think a good sign out will be... That's where I crawled up in on. That's the fire hydrant that you seen in the beginning. I didn't put that. I actually deleted that picture, so you didn't see this fire hydrant in the beginning. I took a picture from up here looking down. I was going to tell you guys that that's where I climbed up in. It wasn't a great picture. But anyway, I climbed up right here. Lo and behold, as I was driving out, I could have just walked up here. Look. Boots on the ground. Real easily. But I came from the other side, right? So I seen an opportunity and took it. So that was it. That was the boots on the ground, and that's where I was right there. I, just posit some anomalies here as to what actually happened there. You can go, let's actually do that. I got some time here. I got that done pretty quickly, so we can go over those anomalies. But let's go onto the street here, and we'll see exactly what's on that side, the street side. Lo and behold, I see Tartarian build out. And we've talked about the build out before. It's more ornate. It doesn't seem like it would be for industry. And it seems like it was repurposed. Like, for example, this is an old there's old foundation here too, and there's old foundation here. You have build out here. They don't necessarily have it as much here, and that's why I say discernment's hard. Why was this building built with ornamentation more with the red brick than this one? The red brick looks different. This is the one they were stitching in on the back of it. This is next door to it, but it's still all along the stretch. All along the stretch of Niagara, there's these buildings, right? So it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? So that's, discernment is hard. I'm just putting out anomalies and questions now. That's where I went. Went down on the tracks there. Now, if I would have kept on chugging along here, again, along this stretch, they have a whole bunch of similar mud flooded type stuff. And what really gets my attention is this pumping station here and the layout of the Peace Bridge. Not necessarily the layout, but yeah, the construction. This old intake structure here that I always found fascinating driving by on this stretch of thruway my entire life, wondering how that was built. That was called the Buffalo Waterworks, and you can look it up on Historic Pictoric. Buffalo, the Black Rock Waterworks. And we have some interesting anomalies here when you look up old stuff. Now, this is how bird's eye view of the place looked in 1812. And now, originally the Peace Bridge was built, or they say it was opened 1927. So again, you look at a picture from where were we at here, from 1812 or on or around that, and you don't see any kind of crossings here, and that kind of fits the timeline. But I posit that these things could all be doctored with mostly truth in them, but little fine details may have been changed to throw you off target, just like my last video on those buildings down in the gorge. Something's going on there, right? I want to point your attention to these buildings on the far side of the Peace Bridge here. And there goes that water intake that's still here. I grabbed this picture from this site right here. I invite you to go there and check these all out. Okay. Very interesting. Very cool pictures. Old pictures. Just want you to see where I'm grabbing from. Now, there go those buildings there. And the Peace Bridge was opened in 1927. Okay, opened. What about construction? Obviously, there is construction notes here. In these Infogalactic, excuse me. But what's interesting to me again is these buildings, this water intake here. And because it's so mud flooded over here as well. I mean, there's big time mud flood action here. And that's why, this is one of the reasons why there's like a retaining wall right here, right next to the tracks. Okay. Now, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I think this was terraformed. So it's next to that rail line, and you got a huge hill here. Extremely interesting. But what, again, I wanted to point your attention to the construction date and construction images of the Peace Bridge, which I buy all this stuff. You might think that these are all fake and stuff like that. I actually looked at these, but when I'm concerned, or what my anomaly is I posit I charge people who watch my channel to try to find information as to how these piers were sunk into the river. Okay? And if I have time, we're going to get into that. I think that we will. Not only, here goes an older picture too, I think before the Peace Bridge was even there, but we don't see where the piers possibly were. Okay? It's almost like giving you an angle that you can't see it. And these stacks look a lot smaller than the ones that are being showed here. I mean, look at that smokestack right there. That stack and these things, look at the difference between here. There's build out up here. And that's what I'm talking about, where your attention here. There's some stuff going on here that it's quite anomalous. These stacks don't look bigger. That intake is right there. The Peace Bridge should be right here, and you should see it. I don't know if this is a faked image, but again, the discernment is hard. Okay, so my anomaly is the fact that I have a hard time buying the fact that these piers were sunk in the river 1927. Okay, because it's a massive undertaking to do that. I believe that there'd have to be caissons that were used. Okay, and caissons are, this is the Brooklyn Bridge. This is how I remembered watching this as a kid, and this is exactly what a caisson is. This is what they would have had it done in the Niagara River at that time, and that would have been an unbelievably huge undertaking, because that's a 12-mile-an-hour current there.
The first major engineering challenge was building 2 piers into the East River that could support the towers. This required piers to be built into the bedrock under 70 feet of water and at least 20 more feet.
I'm using the Brooklyn Bridge as an example here for caissons because I couldn't find any caisson information about the Peace Bridge. If you can find it, please send it to me. I can't find anything on how they sunk those piers.
Of sand and gravel. By this time in history, one prevailing method existed
Here you
for
go.
underwater construction, a caisson. This method has been used prior to the construction of the East River Bridge, never to such a scale as Mr. Roebling intended. The East River caissons were constructed of airtight wooden chambers with no bottom. These structures would then be floated into the correct position and sunk into the riverbed, where an air conduit would pressurize the workspace to approximately twice the standard atmospheric pressure to force the water to evacuate the workspace. From there, the workers would lower via a ladder into the workspace through an airlock, where
The ladder.
they then proceed to dig out the sand beneath the caisson by hand to cause the caisson to sink lower into the ground until the bedrock is reached and the caisson fairly settled upon it. To remove the excavated material, a system was devised to away with the sand and refuse excavated from within the caisson, where it may then be carried away by a dredge atop the structure. A New York Times journalist recounts his expedition into one of the East River's caissons.
Okay, so that's effectively the work that honestly would have had to have been done on the Peace Bridge. in order to sink these piers in. Let's see, where is my description here? The piers, okay? These piers that are on the Peace Bridge here would have had to have had caissons because the current, and that's built in 1927. I can't find any footage of that happening, and they were perfectly 1927 is obviously they had film footage at that time. That would be a massive undertaking. That's an anomaly, and it's the same thing for the International Railway Bridge, which was effectively, here we go, this was built, or opened rather, in 1873. No construction. Date, very anomalous. And I show you these pictures because what I wanted to say is in 1880, I know this is an old picture, but in 1880, it's looking like it's already built out and older. And it was, and per the narrative or the mainstream, it was opened, or what you say, constructed in 1873. Okay, but 1873. This is a picture of 1900s. Look at the stone, guys. I mean, it looks older to me. Okay, look at the mortar. That's 30 years old at that time. I mean, it could be like that, but the anomaly is, and what I'll posit right now and say, and maybe I'll swing back to this in a future video, is that I think that I'm perfectly fine with the construction photos of the Peace Bridge being built with the steel trusses. I think that that's absolutely fine. You can go look these up yourself. There might be a little bit on anomalies, the vanilla sky for sure. Maybe there were zeppelins up there. My anomaly is find me footage, find me documentation. I found, I know there's diagrams. I've seen the diagrams. Here are the diagrams, archive.com, of the actual, anybody could draw these though. Okay? I'd like to see footage of the Peace Bridge caissons and the Peace Bridge piers being laid, not the steel truss on top of it. Okay, so that's another edition of Bushwhacking Tartaria, getting you some boots on the ground, positing another anomaly. Peace Bridge, International Bridge, the pier foundations. How are they sunk in the Niagara River with that current? I love some feedback on that. So hope you enjoyed this one. Thumbs up, share it out there, get the message out there. Feedback is welcome. Everybody take care. I'll catch you on the next one.